Okay, and we'll go over Introduction to CIS280. We're going to cover Swift on your Mac. Once Xcode 6 is installed, 6.1, you want to click on the Xcode icon at the bottom. And summer of 2013, Apple came out with a new language called Swift, and that's what we're going to be focusing on this semester. When you first start Xcode, you'll notice on the left side here, getting started with Playground, explore new ideas and quickly and easily. We're going to click on that. It's going to give us a screen here to name our playground. I'm going to go ahead and name it RBC Playground, platform iOS. Click Next. And it asks for a place to save it. I'm going to go right to my desktop, click Create. And we have a playground started for us here. On the left here is where code is entered, editor. Here is the console of the output of the editor. And then if we click on this button here, it gives us a history or a timeline of the playground. So we're going to do what it says here. We're going to play with Swift here real quick. You'll notice the very first thing in the editor, and I'll resize these here by just clicking on these. You can resize them, move them around. The first line in the editor is an import statement. It's importing a user interface kit, a UI kit. And then the first line Apple gives to begin playing with is what var str equals, and then in quotes, hello playground. What this is doing is it's saying it's variable, str is the name of the variable, equals, and then here is the actual value. This is an implicit string because of this in quotes. So let's go ahead and change this to something to show up here in the console. So I'm going to do hello RBC students. Welcome to CIS280. And you should see a preview of that in the console running. Prior versions of Xcode, you couldn't do this, what we're doing right now. You would have to compile the app. So what this allows you to do, the playground allows you to actually learn on the left here, code and syntax of how code is written. And in the middle here, a preview of what you've just done automatically show up. And then the right is just history. And so basically that's a playground and all that's entailed in a playground. And playground also is allowed to allow you to play with the code that you're learning. And this first week, 2 weeks, we'll be focusing on variables and learning what variables are in Swift. And it is a fairly cool programming language. And in fact, if you're a beginning programmer, you're beginning with every program that's ever programmed for Apple for iOS devices, because this language is brand new as of last August. And so you're starting off along with those who've been developing in the mobile platform for, say, 10 years, 5-10 years. And so you're right on the ground level as well. And so I encourage you this week to just play with the playground. I'll give you some resources this week to learn, begin learning in your reading about variables and variable types, and things like implicit variables and explicit variable types. I'll end with what I just mentioned, implicit and explicit variable types. Implicit here means that because this is a quote, the way Swift works, it's going to implicitly declare this as a string. And if I go down here and try to redeclare it, say I try to do str equals 18, you'll notice here it gives me an error. And it's kicking out over here on the console output, playground execution failed, error type string does not conform to protocol integer, because integer literal, because it was type originally string, and I tried to declare it as an integer. And so this is an implicitly variable type. The other thing you can do, you'll learn this semester, is you can explicitly assign something as a string or an integer or a double or a float. I'm going to go ahead and put this as a string. I'll get the very same error. And the only reason that's can be used is if you wanted to know down the road what type a string is. An explicit type is going to be much better to be used than implicit, but you can use implicit with no problem. And so that's the first little tutorial here on RBC Playground using Swift.